Morning peeps, I'm back. I'm back with a whimper because my game week has fizzled out. And what we're doing this week is we're celebrating. We're celebrating what a ridiculous, crazy, stupid, frustrating, and unbelievably ridiculous game FPL is. And that's why we love it, isn't it? Absolute madness. I tell you what, you couldn't get a pill that would give you highs and lows as frequently and as quickly as FPL does. You know what I mean? Honestly, I started off the game week great, and then yesterday I was watching the Arsenal game. Gabriel scored. I'm up off the couch. One of the rare occasions I leave the couch, peeps. I'm up there like that, and 10 seconds later, I'm down on the floor. You know what I mean? Because 1 second I'm thinking Gabriel's got a goal. 5 seconds after that I'm thinking maybe it's an own goal and he's got an assist. 5 seconds after that I find out my mate Solanke's got an own goal and Gabriel hasn't even got an assist. Ridiculous. And then the net, then I turn over. What's happened? Isaac's got 2 goals and an assist. So having previously thought Palmer was a great captain, I'm suddenly thinking, why did I take the armband off Isaac? Madness, Pete, madness. But I tell you what, you wouldn't give it up for the world, would you? Because it makes you feel alive, doesn't it? You know what I mean? I mean, people say you shouldn't get emotional with FPL. You should be all like cerebral, good or bad. You should just take it as it comes or whatever. But who wants to be like that? You know what I mean? You want the highs, don't you? You want the lows. It's what you live for. You might as well be in your coffin if you're not going to have any ups and downs. You know what I mean? So absolutely fantastic. And then we get Ahmad. Only the 3rd time in the history of the Premier League has a player got a hat-trick in the last 10 minutes. And I'll tell you what, peeps, it's the first time, no doubt, in the history of FPL that a player has got a hat-trick in the last 10 minutes of a game week. I looked at the that content creator league about 10 minutes before the end of the United game, and I was sitting there top for the game week, top peeps. And within 10 minutes, got a hat-trick, and thanks very much, Howard Bellis, if you're watching this. Why not go the whole hog, go around to Ahmad's house and start giving him presents on a daily basis? Because ridiculous, have you got him in your own team? Because you might as well hand it to him on a plate, So I'm sorry if the laptop's bouncing up and down here, peeps. It's on the bed, and I'm trying to control myself, trying to stay relaxed and calm, But as you know, FPL, that's what it does to. I'll tell you what, I started watching Lost on Netflix because I never caught it the first time around, probably about 20 years ago now, isn't it? But they've got all the series have gone on to Netflix. So I started watching that, quite enjoying it actually. But one thing is, it reminds me of FPL because nothing's as it seems or as it should be. Do you know what I mean? All these strange things happening without any logical explanation. I mean, how else do you assume that Iwobi gets 2 goals without even taking a shot? You know what I mean? Or Ahmad, once in a 30-year event, or 3 times in a 30-year event. Madness, peeps. I thought the game week was all over. Sitting here all happy for Bruggen, 7 points. What could be better? You know what I mean? I thought at least that prick Ahmad's blanked and Fernandez is on 2 bonus. And that's another thing. Talk about Twilight Zone. Fernandez, 2 bonus points. I mean, why? He didn't do a thing. I mean, I was watching the game cheering him on. He didn't do anything. Rubbish. And, he gets 2 bonus points. It makes up for the one that FPL stole off me the day before when they took away Robinson's bonus points. I never get, when they do these changes after the event, I never seem to get on the positive side of those. It's ridiculous. You get sick of it after a while. Anyway, Robinson lost some, but at least Fernandez got some this week. Although, to be honest, I was fearing that they would be taken away. Right, so breathe, peeps, breathe. All up, we're celebrating. You know, we're not us non-owners of Amad. It's easy. I saw some people saying delete your team, but you know, that's FPL. That's why we play it. That's what we want. We want these dramas. You know, it's great. Really is, peeps. Really is. Right, so we'll have a quick look at this league because we've already done it once this week. And remember when we looked at it after the first day, as and Mark were at the bottom, weren't they? So we'll go and see how they got on. I was at the top. Probably not now. Right, look. As is never at the top, peeps, but this week he is. And he even vice captain Amad. So, you know, he's a top man this week, as he's hit the button on the nail. Something like that, anyway. That's what he normally does. This time he's at the nail on the button. Not very good, am I, peeps, with my metaphors? You know what I mean? But we try. Right, so we're celebrating as 93 points. So that's what I mean. He would have been on 75 until 10 minutes before Amad scores. Every time I went to update my live rank, Amad went and scored another goal. It was just ridiculous. Ridiculous, peeps. So, yeah, 93 for him. Rare in goal. Rare is an absolute prick. And the reason I'm targeting Raya is because I'm going to be talking about keepers in a minute. So a lot of people bought Raya in after his good start and they were disillusioned with Flecken because a lot of people had Flecken. Got Raya in because Arsenal were the best defence, but he's done nothing, has he? Nothing. As for Hall, sick of him. And why can teams not score against Newcastle? I know Wolves did actually have one disallowed, didn't they? But come on, Pete. Come on, score somebody against Newcastle. Howard Bellis, if you're listening, score against Newcastle if you play him. Stop giving goals to other people. Get one yourself. I had Bellis on my bench. I was looking at my bench and he had 9 points. I'm thinking, oh, I am going to leave some points on the bench after all. But he ended up on 1. Should have been -1. Right, so Visser, Rodgers. I might get Rodgers back in a few weeks, I think. Right, let's have a look here. Harry, 91, up to 49,000 in the world. Again, Amad. It's made such a huge difference this way. Unbelievable. He's got Wood, Gordon. So he's pretty much hit the nail on the head. That's it, peeps. Not button, is it? You know, give yourself a slap, Nick. Come on. And the Lippy Lions here, 77, which I was quite happy with. Do you know what I mean? Until the last 10 minutes. I'll tell you what, I went to the races the other day with my FPL player, mate. They had a race meeting in Christchurch. You get them about every 3 months. And there was a horse in the last race called Lippy. And I says to him, I says, oh, I've got to have a bet on Lippy, like, you know, just before we go home. And he's going, oh, I'd have probably come last, you know. So I got my money out and put a bet on Lippy. And, you know, did come last. Well, pretty much anyway. It trailed in a long way. I think we were halfway to the car park when it came in. That's how bad it was, peeps. But, you know, I'm happy with this. For Bruggen, I'm one of the few people, I think, who use rotating keepers. Flecken and Verbruggen. I've actually been doing all right with them lately. But who shall we see? So we've got Fabio. He's got Henderson in goal. Henderson's doing much better than all of them, I think, for the 4.5s. Him and Sells. So he's like me. He had Semenyo, basically. Semenyo, Captain Palmer. Same thing, really. Yeah, he benched Pedro as well. And this one's interesting because these next two teams, 75 and 74, were both pretty much rescued by Amad. They'd have had scores of like 55, 56 if it wasn't for Amad. So the last 10 minutes have really like taken them from a bad red arrow to a decent green arrow. See, at late riser Captain Haaland, but he's kind of got out of trouble with Amad. So nothing else unremarkable. Again, Raya, you see. So many people got Raya in goal. Wag, Henderson, Jackson got a beautiful assist. We talked about that the other day. Those Ahmad and Odegaard. And now I watched that Arsenal game and I saw Odegaard miss the open goal and I thought, you useless prick. Honestly, I thought, why would anybody own Odegaard? And I didn't realise that he got 8 points. I don't know what he did for his 8 points. He must have got an assist or something, I guess. But he missed that open goal. But if he'd got that, he'd have been on a proper total, wouldn't he? But Arsenal were, I'm not that impressed with Arsenal. I know they beat Tottenham, but they're not the same without Saka, are they? Really not. Then Mark was 73. He's really ridden this Newcastle train into the ground, hasn't he? He got on early. And Hall, Gordon, they're still killing me. Hall, Gordon, Isaac, every single week. And I keep thinking, how long can it go on? They've got to come back to normal. But they've had so much luck, They've had players in the other teams being sent off, or like Fernandes was injured when they played Man United. And they just had everything go their way, Newcastle, in the last 5 or 6 weeks. How long can it continue, peeps? And what else have we got here? The last two, the two terrible twins of the review boys, both at the bottom, 63 and 61. They're both fun. I mean, they're not terrible scores. Both of them double Arsenal defence and not having Semenyo or Wood or anyone else that got remarkable points. I think Andy's another with Raya. I don't know who Joe's got in goal. He's got Henderson. Henderson's decent. He must have sold Flecken recently. I think he had Flecken, didn't he? Baby Goat got a 0. I'll tell you what, peeps. Where should we go now? Hang on, we'll go back now. So, firstly, we'll note how many transfers people have got left, because this is relevant, because we're in game week 22 coming up. Game week 24, we've got the new chip, haven't we? And people need transfers for those. So, like, Fabio's got 5. Late Riser's got 3, and even Wag's got 5 free transfers, and Andy's got 4, and Bakar's got 3, and I've got 1. So, so we're going to have a quick look at plans, and I think really now is the time you have to decide what you're doing, basically, because like I said, we've only got a couple of weeks to go. If you've got no transfers like me, I strongly recommend saving 1 or 2 even before the double game week, because you've either got to buy your new manager, we'll see in a minute actually, or you have to save up transfers just to get double game week players in, or I suppose you can ignore them. Right, this week coming up, I don't know who to captain, so I'm not making any captain calls. A couple of people last week said that I was a bit disingenuous because I said I was going to captain Isaac and I didn't. Well, what I did actually say was I wasn't going to captain Salah, and that I'd be captaining Isaac as long as there was no negative news about him. And the fact is there was, because the press conference wasn't overly positive. There were a lot of people thinking he was going to have his minutes managed, and the polls on the big streams, etc., all had Palmer at the highest, Palmer or Salah. And I'd already said I wouldn't captain Salah, so I switched to Palmer, basically on the doubts over Isaac, which I think was fair enough. But didn't turn out too brilliant, did it? So this week, the main thing is Semenyo or João Pedro. I'll tell you what, peeps, right? Semenyo, I've given you a few GOAT picks over the season, haven't I? Remember, Fernandes was my first GOAT pick, game week 9. Got a load of points. Second GOAT pick was Huijsen, wasn't it? Baby Goat. I selected him as a GOAT pick, and he went on a fantastic run for Bournemouth. Still looks really good. And I think Solanke, as long as Evan Nielsen's out, Solanke is a new GOAT pick. Not straight away Semenyo. Did I say Solanke? I never know, peeps. But Semenyo is the new GOAT pick. he's got a couple, well, he's got three really next fixtures aren't great, but if you're looking for someone from game week 25, then I think Solanke, as long as Evan Nielsen's out, looks a fantastic pick. You know, I was lukewarm on him, even thinking of getting rid of him. But seeing him without Evan Nielsen in the team, half the match he was playing as striker. You know, he looked really dangerous, really dangerous. He took a well-taken goal. You know, he looked very good. I mean, a lot of that's Chelsea, of course. But with these fixtures he's got coming up, you know, Southampton, Wolves, Brentford, Ipswich, West Ham, I mean, they all concede, those teams. Even Tottenham and Brighton, for that matter. So from game week 25, and Baby Goat as well, you know, get them in, peeps, get them in. Because Bournemouth look to be the team to go to after that game week 24. So, down to transfers. Now, like I said, saving. But if I was going to make a transfer this week, it would actually be, because Verbruggen's got United away and Flecken's got Liverpool at home. So I briefly flirted with the idea of bringing in Alisson, because, leave me with zero in the bank, because he has a better fixture in my two keepers this week. When he's home to Ipswich, then he has a double game week, and then he has Wolves. Okay, which look all look fantastic, don't they? You know, he's got they're not the easiest fixtures in the double game week, but you can see him getting a clean sheet or getting some save points. And my current keepers do not have particularly fantastic fixtures. I mean, I can play Verbruggen at home to Everton, and of course I can play him away at Southampton. And Flecken also does not have particularly brilliant fixtures just yet, but they do get better. But remember what I was saying, peeps, when we're looking at those teams. I'll ask you a question. When was the last time one of the expensive keepers was worth buying in FPL? Because I don't really remember. You know, often you'll get a season when one of the top keepers will get a good total. You know, that might be the Arsenal keeper, or the Liverpool keeper, or the Man City keeper. But in real time, during the season, you don't know which one that's going to be, do you? And paying 5.5 for a keeper, I think, is excessive. You know, people that are doing well with Henderson, Sells, even myself at the moment, not doing too badly with Flecken and Verbruggen. You know, I've had a lot of ones, of course, with Flecken. But is it really worth bringing in someone like Becker? Because once you bring him in, of course, you can't get rid of them, can you? Only on a wild card, really. You're not going to get one out, basically. And he is the only Liverpool player, apart from the two I've got, that I am interested in for this double game week. Now, you've got, you saw they've got Ipswich and Wolves, right? So you're obviously very tempted to go Gakpo, Diaz or Jota, right? But we've seen the last 3 weeks, they've taken it in turns to score. Admittedly, they've had difficult fixtures, haven't they? But they have got Ipswich and Wolves coming up. But do we know which one's going to play and which one's going to get the points? It's not easy, is it? I mean, you could pick Gakpo, and you never know. The other striker might play, although he seems to be missing in action. Whether he's been sold or not, Nunez, I don't know. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see him out the door in the transfer window. But even then, you know, Jota can play striker instead of Gakpo. And they've got that Italian that hardly ever plays these days. But, you know, he could start a few games, or he may go on loan to Italy or whatever. But, you know, do you take a gamble on the Liverpool mid? Because they're not that cheap either, are they? That's the other thing. Gakpo 7.4, Diaz 7.5, Jota 7.2. You know, I mean, I say they're not a lot, but like Sar's the only midfielder I'd want to get rid of. So I couldn't really afford to get him anyway. You know, I tell you what's funny, Peach, right? I had a notification 5 minutes after that Man United match. I had a notification through that somebody had left a comment on my previous video. And it was from a person who's often writing negative comments on my chat, you know, the comment section of my videos. And it was along the lines of, I cannot understand why you bought Fernandez instead of Ahmad. It just seems ridiculous. It's obvious that Ahmad's better. You know, this is like 5 minutes after he scored his hat-trick. Now, if he'd come on and said that 5 minutes before Ahmad had scored a hat-trick, I'd have been giving him a clap. But as it is, he deserves a because it's just hindsight of ridiculous levels. You know, even if he owns Ahmad, it's still ridiculous hindsight to come on and go on at somebody like that. You know, I'm just doing my best, peeps. You know, I haven't got a crystal ball. So, you know, I'm just trying my best. You know, I'm useless. I'm not very good and all that, but I am at least trying. You know what I mean? So, you know, I sold Iwobi before his 2 goals. What was I supposed to know about that? You know what I mean, peeps? I love people leaving comments, even a negative one. So keep sending them in. You know, it gives me something to talk about. I might even pin that one as my top comment. You know, that's what one of the chess, the big chess streamers does. You know, when somebody leaves a really negative comment, he highlights it and pins it to the top, you know, so everyone can see it. So, so I might do that with his comment, because I thought it was quite funny. You know, the level of hindsight was ridiculous. He must have seen the final whistle and run straight onto my comment section and left that message, you know. So well done. You know, you're obviously next level compared with me. So right, so where was I, peeps? Oh yeah, Jota, Diaz and Gakpo. Well, personally, I can't really fit them in. I could only sell Solanke for Gakpo. I don't think it's worth it. I think the security of minutes Solanke has far outweighs any short-term upside for Gakpo. Right, so what we're going to do now is have a quick look at game week 24, because this website, FPL Team, has now got the assistant manager thing working. There we go, look at them. Managers. Some have got faces and some haven't got faces, you know. I mean, even Moyes, who's been a manager for God knows how long, still hasn't got a face. You know, he's the invisible man, along with Maresca, Hutzler, and a few others. Van Nistelrooy hasn't got one, or even Amorim, you know. Only the grumpy ones, apart from Nuno, who looks quite happy. But Postecoglou doesn't look very happy, does he, peeps? As for Slot, now let's see. We'll put him in and see what it does. Ding. Right, okay, so we'll assume... hang on, peeps, hang on. I've messed up. Too many from Liverpool. I've got to go back. We've stuffed up. We're not surprised, are we? Right, we'll go back to game week 24. And here he is. He's back in. So the first thing we notice is it has not affected the number of transfers that I have. So bringing Slot in does not cost a transfer. It only costs a transfer to bring in a manager on these chips if you change it. For example, I go to game week 25. Okay, let's say 26, just to be more realistic. So game week 26, well, I might want to change Slot because he's away at Man City. I might want to buy Amorim. Oh, what am I doing, peeps? This is so annoying. Useless. That commenter was right, wasn't he? He was right about me. I am useless. Right. So, Slot comes in. And in game week 26, I want to remove him. So I get rid of him that way. And I replace him with the invisible man, Maresca. Because Maresca's away at Villa. I thought he had a good fixture that week. Let's see, who's got a good fixture in game week 26? Because you're going to have to change your Liverpool manager to one of these. And I guess you're going to have to go with Arsenal, aren't you, really? Or you could go for Tottenham away at Ipswich. but it's not guaranteed, is it? It's not guaranteed. Yeah, it's not. I don't like. I'll tell you what, I don't like the look of that. You know, I mean, Arsenal should beat West Ham, shouldn't they? So we'll change him again, and we'll change him for Arteta, right, in game week 26. And you see that does cost a transfer. So if you change it, it does cost a transfer. Let's see what happens if you change into a cheaper manager. You see, you get your budget back. Because somebody said to me, you don't get your money back once you sell your assistant manager, but you clearly do. Right, peeps, that's enough of that. So, I'll tell you why I'm not playing it. Firstly, I'm negative in the bank, and I can't even afford to play it unless I get rid of somebody. And the only person I'd want to get rid of is Sir, and I'd have to replace him with a 4.5, which isn't out of the question. I could get Winks in, but then it's used my Liverpool slots. I can't buy any more Liverpool players. I just don't. No, it's just not. No, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it at all, peeps. Assistant manager's chip. So what I'm going to do instead is just use my triple captain on Salah. Although to be fair, I do not think these are the best fixtures. In some ways, I think Everton have actually got a better double game week than Liverpool, because at least in one of Everton's games they're at home to Leicester, and they're home to Liverpool. At least they're both home matches. I'm not really that keen. You know, I'm gonna triple captain Salah, but I'm not expecting a huge return, to be honest. I think he's normalised a little bit now. He's not, you know, he's overperformed, hasn't he? He has. I don't think you can deny he's overperformed. But I think I will do that and not use the chip. But the only thing I'm thinking of, if I'm not using, you know, if you are using a chip, you obviously can't get 3 Liverpool players, can you? But the fact I'm not using the chip means I could get the Bruggen out for Becker. But like I said, I'm not in favour of expensive keepers. I'd end up having to hang on to him until I played my wild card in game week 30 or whatever. And if he's getting clean sheets, then it means Trent's getting clean sheets. So, you know, I'm happy enough with that. It's not likely to get a huge amount of save points. And it uses a transfer. And the other thing is, if I do it now, then I definitely am ruled out of the using the Assman chip. And it puts my bank to 0, further limiting my options going forward. So if I was going to make a transfer this week, it would probably be to Becker. Or even Pickford is an option for the double game week. I don't know what Everton's fixtures are like after the... Yeah, no, I just don't see it's worth it. I just do not see it's worth it. I mean, Liverpool do have a decent run though, don't they? I mean, home to Ipswich, a double, home to Wolves. We've got Southampton, Everton, Fulham, West Ham, Leicester. It's an extra $1 million spent on a goalkeeper. Yeah, no, I don't think I'd do it, peeps. I don't think I'd do it. So I'm going to save this week. Going to save for sure. I mean, the more, you know, I'll have 3 transfers hopefully by the time the double game week comes around. I've got Trent against Ipswich to look forward to. I won't have Becker, of course. Well, I'll have the other keeper. But there should be no reason here why I need to make any transfers over the next 2 weeks. Basically, everyone's got nice fixtures. In fact, all I've got is benching headaches. I'm going to have to choose between Semenyo and João Pedro in game week 23. So we'll have a quick look at Reddit before we go. and see what's happening there. So we'll order it by the hot topics. Diallo's the third player in Premier League history. Rooney against Hull, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer against Forest. So it's the first time in 14 years. Well, it's 15 years now, isn't it, since it happened. And it's hit us in the last 10 minutes of the game week. Now look at this, peeps. This just shows you how rubbish they were. Do you know what I mean? I'm surprised the Southampton players haven't got more bonus points. You know, I think Dibbling would have had, wouldn't he, if he hadn't got booked. As for Howard Bellis, he deserves minus 16, giving Ahmad that last goal. But this is really ridiculous. You know, he got 2 bonus points with 19 points under the bonus point system. So I can consider myself very lucky there, I think. Someone here is saying that people are mass transferring in Ahmad when what we should be doing is transferring in the best attackers that are playing Southampton. Southampton collapsed in the second half and gave Mbeumo loads of points. They gave Ahmad loads of points and should have got Sarr loads of points as well. And next week, of course, Southampton are playing Forest. So would. But Forest tend not to score too many goals. So I'm not thinking Forest of a sort of team to really punish a team like Southampton. You'd probably get his usual 1 goal. Player I like, as I always say, is Morgan Gibbs-White. But I haven't really got a spot for him. Ahmad's first person starting under 5 million, starting at 5 million or under to reach the 100 club. Someone's saying if you don't enjoy football because of FPL, delete your account and don't look back. But you know, like I said, peeps, you've got to celebrate these things. You know what I mean? This is what we want. The last thing we want is boring, where every single player scores 5 points every week and you're neither happy nor sad. You know, what sort of world's that? You might as well be in your coffin. You know what I mean? If you're not going to have the highs and lows, what's the point? What's the point, peeps? You know, price changes. Let's have a look. We all know who went up, don't we? Let's have a look. Ahmad, he was on nowhere. Like a couple of hours ago, he was only 18% owned, but he was like 40% owned in that league we looked at, wasn't he? And quite a few percent of those were bought in the last couple of hours. So Gordon, Hall, Isaac, Langer. So all the people that got points basically. Matoma dropping, Jackson dropping. I tell you what, people go on about Solanke, but he's done a lot better than Jackson, hasn't he? Recently, apart from getting an own goal. All right, so Madison dropping. Winks. Oh, that's interesting. So if I did go for Winks, he's only 4.4 million now. Because I was thinking about this benching headache I've got every week to sell one of Semenyo, well, Sarr actually, sell Sarr and get Winks in, and Winks just got cheaper. So he's a decent looking 4.4. I don't know if he's starting actually. I'll have to check on that, whether Van Nistelrooy is playing him. Look at this. I checked Ahmad's price after his second goal and he was 40% of the way to a drop on live FPL. So he went from minus 40% to a price rise. Unbelievable, wouldn't it? Unbelievable. I chose Bruno instead of Ahmad before Christmas. One of them got an assist and got a red card. Another one has gotten 4 goals and is cheaper. Again, peeps, if you haven't got a crystal ball, you don't know, do you? You don't know. Right, so let's have a look. I still think Bruno is a fine pick, by the way. Fine pick. His turn will come, peeps. His turn will come. Right, let's have a look. Where am I going? I'm on that shred, aren't I? I'm always doing that. I get on the shred thinking I'm on there. What's the worst advice you've been given? Probably being told by me Iwobi's a good pick. Although he did get 2 goals, didn't he? So at least he it shows he can score, you know, even if it's by supernatural methods. And what the hell we got here? Look at this. This is why I'm a bit over this chip already. You know, when you see things like this and you think, what the hell's going on here? You know, so mentally, peeps, I just tune out. You know, so doing the ostrich thing. You know, instead of taking my head out the ass man, I'm actually sticking my head up the ass man and ignoring it. You know what I mean? Putting my head in the sand and forgetting it exists. I just play my triple captain because it's simpler, less stressful, and I'm sure there's going to be other opportunities later in the season where I can use this chip without having to look at things like this that just addle the brain. You know what I mean? I don't know what that's all about. Let's try and make sense of it. Nah, let's not. You know. Right, Forest are third, and they scored less goals than Wolves. I mean, this is what I'm saying. This is why I'm not too worried about Forest versus Southampton, for example, because they'll probably still win by 1-2 goals like they normally do. Don't talk to me about a away beat. Right. We'll have a quick look and see if there's anything else. I'll tell you what, though, Pete. What a game week. What a game week. New. Let's see new. Probably all pictures of Ahmad. Game week ranked without chips. It would be interesting, actually, wouldn't it, if you could see a ranking with chips taken out of it. You know what I mean? Especially with this new chip coming up, it's gonna be ridiculous, isn't it? In like between game week 24, 25, and 26. By the end of game week 26, I'm probably going to be over 1 million in rank simply because I haven't played my chip. You know, and I've still got my triple captain chip. I have at the moment. And it all gives a false impression of your real rank, wouldn't it? So this person here is asking if there's a way to see a real rank, you know, without chips. I think that would be quite useful, wouldn't it? Top budget players for the next 3 weeks. Don't worry about that. Price changes. Spurs might be a good user for chip game week 27 to 29. I don't think they are at all. He's talking rubbish. I mean, look at this. He reckons home to Man City, because you get more points for beating Man City. You've got to beat them first. You know what I mean? And then Bournemouth, who, you know, he's obviously targeting these 5 points because he thinks that Tottenham are going to beat these players that are more than 5 points ahead or whatever. But they're difficult fixtures. You could end up with 0. You know, you could end up with 0 in all 3 of those games. Look at, oh no. So this is what I'm talking about. Every week, right? I don't think I've ever had a player that's got an extra bonus point awarded at the end of the game. I don't think I've ever had one. All I've ever had is players having points taken away. You know what I mean? Like Robinson, I think Trent got one taken away. You know, lots of players I've got have had points taken away late in the day. And I've never had one that's got the points added on. Well, look, Winks is up there. Look, top. So he is playing. Top Leicester person on the bonus system. Yeah. So if I do go to get rid of my benching headaches, it will be Winks I'm getting in. 4.4 is decent. And at least you're not tempted to play him like you are with some of these other ones. So, yeah, so blooming Matata gets an extra bonus point, you know. Why not give Ahmad one? You know, give him 4. Give him 4 points, you know, just to be annoying. All right, let's have a look, peeps. Is there any pre-existing data or stats that show how many fantasy points have been attained when playing Southampton? Probably are. I don't know. That blooming thing again. Madness, peeps, madness. Right, that's about it, I think. Yep, so we shall, I think, be saving this week. I mean, it's only a day or so left, isn't there, before the deadline anyway. So I'm pretty happy with this. The only fixture really, you know, I mean, Forest are home to Southampton. A lot of people are going to buy Wood this week. A lot of people. But then again, an awful lot of people are going to buy Ahmad, aren't they? The wing back. So we shall see. We shall see how he does. He's been absolutely shocking lately, missing everything, and then gets a hat-trick in 10 minutes. So, let's see. Could be some more Robinson points, Andy Waby points, Ghost points. Hopefully Villa will score against Arsenal. Right, so that's about it, peeps. So, the theme of this game week of this video was celebrate the ups and downs, even the downs, you know, because you can't have the downs without the ups, or the ups without the downs. So, you know, and that's what we want, isn't it? We want volatility, we want a bit of chaos. So the more the better, peeps, the more the better. So well done if you own Ahmed. If you own him, well done. If you captain him, you're just a lucky prick. And I'll talk to you all later. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the other side of the game week, okay? So cheers for now then, peeps.